So I wasn't originally intending to review these headphones, especially since I can't really demonstrate anything about headphones. I can only describe how they sound and feel to you. But even after some initial observations, I think that I have some points here that are kind of quite interesting. And it can show how cheap isn't always bad, but usually is. But not in this case, depending on how much of a snob you are. It's also based on your uses and situations. Let's go. First of all, chapters are available on the timeline, and affiliate links to some of the products mentioned in this video are in the description to help me out. Before we get into the official review, let me tell you exactly why I bought and tried these headphones in particular. I think that some people won't care, but I think a lot of you might actually find this quite interesting. And it all starts with the fact that the headphone industry just kinda sucks. There are so many companies making so many different models of headphones that there are just seemingly endless choices of just models to get. And headphone collecting isn't something that people do, even intentionally or desirably. Okay, the camera might have changed a little bit, I just had to let my little dog out. But yeah, there's so many brands making headphones, and that's even just talking about the name brands, and then when you add in the endless mass of garbled company names from China, Taiwan, all these other mass manufacturing, really powerhouse countries, it just gets insane. And then to even further discourage the ability to find a decent model, 50 to 80% of what comes out of these no-name brands, and then sometimes even the name brands, it's all just bad. They either are made for people who fundamentally don't like a good sound, or they're just made to just simply get a job done, or just aren't made well. It all varies. So in effort to keep this video at a watchable length for most people, I will try and condense down the story that I really wanted to tell in this video. Basically, I have 4 sets of headphones that we will be comparing today. Well, 5 I think in the end. What I have here are my first set of headphones I ever really had. These are a very cheap, affordable option from over 20 years ago, probably at least 10 or 15 years, from Sony. And these were hand-me-downs from my dad. These probably costed $10 to $20, maybe below 10, but I doubt it. But yeah, that was 10 to 20 years ago. I don't know the exact model, but that's probably irrelevant because I doubt that people are reselling this old version of the headphones. And honestly, it doesn't really matter. They might be a little more comfortable, but as you can see on mine, they are definitely starting to degrade. There used to be like a pleather layer over this, but that's just completely flaked off, and it's only left with the padding, which this is better padding than what's on the current version, but it's, you know, it's just an unfortunate byproduct of our times and inflation. So, but we'll get into that later. Next I have these headphones. You could probably tell just how long it's been since I used these based on the dust on them. But this is obviously a gaming headset. This used to be able to lock up there, but it only falls now. And this is by one of those no-name brands, or at least it's, you know, lightly established in the Amazon marketplace. It's by a brand called Sonys, I think. I don't know how you pronounce it, but there it is. So, based on my search online, I couldn't find these exact models, but because these were purchased for me by my dad years ago, once again, from playing on Xbox. But basically, equivalent models that I can find, they are $20 to $30, but I vaguely recall my dad saying they costed probably a bit more than that. Now, the reason why I bring these up is because despite these being a gaming headset, these were kind of all I had besides my very cheap Sonys. And in middle school, riding the bus home, instead of sitting there listening to a bunch of fellow idiot children, I would rather try to listen to music. So that's what I tried to do. So I plugged these into my phone, and I could barely hear my music over the general sounds of the bus driving. And this was at max volume on my phone. So I just happened to try out my old Sonys here, and it was night and day. If I did max volume with these on my old phone, it would have blown my ears out. So these have a significant volume boost compared to these headphones. Now, I don't know if these were marketed as safe for children, and if that was the reason why, like, maybe there's like a limiting or resistance in the maximum volume here, but I doubt that that's the case. I just think that they might just be a little less good. After that, we have these headphones. These are the JBL Live 500 BTs. These are very good headphones. I've had these for a few years, at least 3, but probably closer to 5, and I love the sound of these. These are great. The only problem is that they are kind of spendy, and this specific model is actually out of production because I think they moved on to a more current model. And because of how long I've owned these and how frequently I use them, I wanted to try and find a backup pair of headphones to get that sound decent. But of course, these cost more, and these were a gift, of course, again, and they were also got on a heavy markdown as well. I'm trying to find a suitable option to compare affordably, which can be quite a challenge, of course. What I naturally assumed was that the brand name was doing good things and just and knew what they were doing, basically, and they would make, if they made good high-end headphones, maybe they would make good low-end headphones. So then, next, we have these. I don't know the exact model of these, but I believe that these are part of the Tune series of headphones, though that doesn't really narrow the description down, and ironically, that name does not fit the description of how these headphones work, or sound at least. So these headphones have a bunch of capabilities, like they can be wireless, and I think these costed around $40 or something like that. However, unfortunately, for $40, you get an okay sound, but it's really just mids focused. There is barely bass, and I don't think there's a whole lot of highs going on. It's kind of telephone-like. It's not as filtered as an actual phone call, but it doesn't sound as full range. These are decent headphones that will get a lot of jobs done, but if you're trying to fully experience content like music or a movie, these will not be giving you the full experience. I also bought some DJ headphones from the brand Shure, spelled S-H-U-R-E, and they're more well known for their microphones, and they make really good microphones. However, I thought that would mean that they would make some decent headphones, especially if they're marketing them as DJ headphones. But they were just extremely muddy and bass heavy, and they sucked. So what this all is leading up to is that eventually throughout my process, I just went back to I found these headphones again and went back to trying these when trying to find a comparable set of headphones to my JBLs, because I remembered liking these. And these are full ranged and balanced. They sound good. They're honestly, these old ones are comparable to the JBLs. They may not be as tuned because these are on-ear headphones and the JBLs are over-ear, so that allows more of an isolation and that makes a more of a controlled environment for the sound to get to your ears. But these just sound good, unlike many of the other headphones being produced by even big brand names. So one day, I think it was Black Friday, because I think it was the day right after Thanksgiving, but it was near Black Friday, and we just happened to we had a tire that had a semi-fast leak in it. It could get us to the tire place, but not much farther. So we had to get our tires replaced. While we waited for that to happen, we went into the Walmart, because by this tire place, that's pretty much the only thing to do unless you went to go eat, but it was too early for eating. We went into Walmart, and me and my dad got separated for one reason or another, and I was looking at the tech section, because that's just what I do basically when I'm killing time. And I had noticed 2 pairs of headphones, and once again I was thinking about brand recognition and maybe there's continuity through it. But since these cheap headphones were so good, I thought maybe Sony was onto something, and hopefully that would roll over throughout the years. So I noticed a set of headphones for $40 and a set of headphones for $10. But and they were locked behind the glass case, unfortunately, so they weren't stealable, despite, you know, the lower cost margins. They were locked up with the $200 and, you know, around that range headphones. But before I got to really look at it, my dad discovered that he forgot his phone, so we had to go back to the tire place because they would have no way of calling us. But a couple weeks ago, I had a birthday party for my early birthday. My normal birthday is literally Christmas Eve, which is tomorrow as of this recording. But we had it a couple weeks ago so that my friends can have a separate party from that and actually hopefully make it. And one of the gifts that they gave me was the $40 headphones from Sony. Well, I had nothing but issues with that set. First of all, the packaging seems to be a puzzle every time. So getting the thing open without just ripping it apart was very difficult. Then you get it out and there's barely anything in the box, which isn't the worst thing. But the charger is like, you know, 2 inches long. I believe it's a C2C. And to top it off, there is no wired connection. It is forced Bluetooth, which personally I just hate having to charge absolutely everything I own. So for headphones, I just would rather plug in and go. But I wasn't able to. So then you have to install an app on your phone to get them tuned up, because you can. There's an equalizer and stuff, and then you have to have an account for the app. And the final straw was that my computer is an old Optiplex with a graphics card thrown in. So essentially, the motherboard is too old, or I just got unlucky and got the wrong version, that it doesn't have Bluetooth and it's not capable. So if I wanted to use the headphones with my computer, which is probably the most likely place that I would actually use them, I would need a dongle. But I didn't really want the dongle. I didn't really want the Bluetooth only. So we ended up just returning those, and we got the $10 set, which is what we have here and what we're reviewing today. So these, slightly tangled, which doesn't help a later statement. These are the Sony MDR-ZX110s, or 110s, whatever, you know, that's the model. Let's start with the packaging. So here I have the box. I tried to repack it as closely to factory sealed as possible, but as you will come to find out, these are a little confusing, and I may not have done it exactly right, especially that I couldn't get this to go up right, but I think that the general idea is still here. These do, like stated before in my short story, the boxes really do seem like puzzles, and you get a new puzzle for every different model you get, because the $40 model was actually more challenging than this and much different. It had like a whole wrapping around it, and then you had another box that you had to open, which had a little bit of a weird, I think, clasp, one of those cardboard locking mechanisms so that they couldn't be easily tampered with. I'm gonna try and open this on camera right here and see how this goes. I honestly don't know if I'm gonna be able to remember how to open this. Here is the packaging. Not a whole lot of description on it, just on the back. And initially, because I had started with the other box before, I thought that I would need to open this from the bottom, because it also looks like it could be openable. It has the right slits and stuff, and it just has this plastic. But eventually, I found it easier to open it from the top. So I think we can start by pulling this out. Oh, criminy. You can see already how difficult this is. I just cut my nails, so then that gives me a little less grip on this. Why is this being actually so difficult, though? I'm ruining the box more than I did the first time. I guess it's because my packing tolerance wasn't good. Oh, well, I just broke the box. There. God, I frickin' tore the box on accident because this frickin' thing just sucks. So then it has these two flaps, and then there's this flap, which then reveals this box. So now this thing is empty, and everything was inside this extra box, which then has this clasp and then opens up like that. And here we have where the headphones would have been, packaged up in this paper. It's not really a bag, it's just kind of in there, but they wrapped it properly so that it would be completely protected from all sides. And then we have, I guess, an instruction manual and then there was a twist tie, I believe, on the cord to try and keep it managed. Okay, so now with the unboxing done, or my recreation of the unboxing, now let's talk about the marketing that's on the back of the box and how accurate it is. So at the very top, it says no more than 5% plastic in the packaging, which seems to be pretty much true. I believe that the foam is a combination plastic and other material, a hybrid material of sorts, and that's probably the like 4 or less percent that they're talking about. The next thing down says quick folding style, which is correct, though it's not as nice as some other models, but remember, I bought these for $10. Then it says tangle-free serrated cable. Now the cable does have an angle down the middle for the separation between the two cups, and I guess that's where they get the serrated from. It's not like it's jagged like a knife. The other part of it is tangle-free, which I have only the tiniest bit of problem with, because while technically it didn't come tangled, it does come with a whole lot of cable memory. You can see here, this is how it looked as it came out of the box when I undid the zip tie, or the twist tie. It's twisty and, you know, curvy, and then it's got a few like very minor kinks. At least they look like they might have been kinks, not damaging or anything. But yeah, so while it's not tangled, it's I don't know. It's not the worst flaw to have, but it is just a bit strange and kind of unsatisfying to have right out of the box. Next, it says both-sided cable, which is referring to the fact that the cords go into each of the ear cups, which some models only have to go into one side. But yeah, that's just more of a warning, I guess, because of that fact. It's once again not the worst flaw to have, but just a minor inconvenience in some scenarios. The next thing after that, it says cable length approximately 1.2 meters or just below 4 feet. Which after a rough measurement seems about right. It's kind of hard to get the exact length because of the coiling and cable memory out of the box, along with, you know, just being connected to the device permanently as well. And the cord length is good for most applications. However, personally, I would have liked to see 1 or 2 extra feet of length. But again, we'll talk about that more in depth later. And finally, it says L-shaped stereo cord. Check. So now I can finally talk about the actual headphones themselves, but we're going to start with the construction, which there's, you know, quite a few things to say here. And unfortunately, the overall construction does feel cheap. The headband is relatively thin compared to some other models, and it additionally has no padding, but personally I didn't notice it, but I haven't used these for real extended periods of time yet. The band adjustment feels kind of in between in terms of quality. Its stepping is a bit rough, but it doesn't feel overly stiff. So it doesn't feel like it's quality made. I mean, it's obviously not the worst, but it also feels like it will hold up to at least a year or 2 of use, if not longer. It's not gonna like come loose or something like that. Maybe it will in your case if it breaks, but that's like a lemon scenario, or a you messing up scenario, or me messing up if it happens to me, but, you know, us messing up. The inner pads on the ear cups were the first thing that I noticed when I put these on. They feel pretty cushiony to the actual touch of the finger or the hand, but they don't give much on the head, and the cushion inside kind of sounds like it's kind of crackly. It's kind of like when you crumple up a plastic bag and then you let it settle, how it still has that kind of that plastic settling, where as the plastic is coming back into its resting position. You'll get some of that when you first put these on, but usually it dies down within 30 seconds to a minute, maybe faster, maybe longer. It depends on how you move them and all of that. And it is also not really noticeable, at least in my experience, while actually listening to audio. And the upside of these not really giving while it's on the head, it means that these should be able to withstand a decent length of use without the actual padding just degrading. On a lot of other like chairs, like this one actually, I have to have a freaking second cushion because the padding just it's a cheap foam, and the foam from extended use gets compressed and eventually stays compressed, and then it's basically just not even there anymore. And some chairs and other headphones use materials like that. These, I think, will actually withstand some time, and it actually isn't too uncomfortable. It protects your head sufficiently from the plastic bits, so I personally didn't have any fatigue, but again, I didn't use these for real extended periods of time, only like 10 minutes max in my testing so far, because I honestly just don't use headphones very often, at least in my room. Where I usually use my headphones is out in the garage when I play my drums, but these will not work for drumming because they might for electric drums and stuff like that, but I need some hearing protection if I'm going to be drumming, which these are over ear, so they will not be protecting very well from outside sources. I have managed to get it tangled, but it came quickly untangled, so that's cool. The cups can fold, oh boy, into the band like a lot of modern models can. The old model did not have this. However, the molding in here is very, to me it seems complex, and it's very specific about how you have to fold these in, because you can't twist these headphones out and do all that sort of manipulation on a higher end set like on my nice JBLs, where they just they twist in and out and they can just flip inwards because they have a nice gyro mechanism and stuff. Yeah, these are like, you know, double or triple hinged or whatever. Triple hinging is probably not a thing, but yeah, so when you fold these in, you have to be very specific about it and kind of careful, because it's not confidence inspiring is what I mean, but for storage it works pretty good. Now, another additional thing is you might be able to see it here, but the cups fold in at a certain angle, and I'm actually having them backwards right now. They fold in so that they compress against your ears properly and try and get a better seal on the ear, or, you know, rough seal. It's not really noise canceling or sealing or anything like that, but it's trying to get you the most accurate placement for the sound and also maybe some stability on your head. But because of this angle, putting them on backwards will apply pressure wrong, and they'll be kind of overpressed on the back and lifting outwards on the outer side or the inner side. What did I just say? It's basically, you know, facing towards your face. It'll be sticking out a little bit. I observed this cup thing the first time because I accidentally put these on the wrong way because I couldn't find the left and right indicator. First, I looked for a red band along the joints here, because that is how the old model has it. This red band here is how you know that is the right side, but it obviously does not have that. So the next thing I looked for was a left and right indicator on the inside paneling here, because that's how both of the JBL models have their labels printed. But once again, I didn't have it, so I just completely missed it and put them on the wrong way. Now, I think I might have been holding them somewhat like this, because the indicators are right on the hinges here, on the very tips. You probably can't see them from here, it's hard to tell, but the way you're looking at them right now is the way that they should be put on. They're not printed on both sides, and obviously there's only one way to put these on because they're not ambidextrous. So you have a few different warnings on these headphones to know which side is the right side. You have these small ones, which are not super helpful, but you also have just the simple actual fitment. So if they don't sit right, then you know you have them on wrong. Or there's something wrong with there might be something wrong with your head. I'm sorry. The cord, like stated before, is connected to both of the cups and is a fixed connection, so these are permanently on there. They can't be detached like both my JBL models. So you kind of have to take care of these, try not to run over the cable if you leave it dangling and all that sort of stuff, because if the cable is broke, you either have to try and repair it yourself or get a different model, or buy another unit is what I meant to say. So, and then I don't know what this thing is called. I call it the adjustment nub, because usually you can bring it up and down to tighten this up or cinch it up, whatever the right word is, but this is non-removable, or it's non-movable, is what I mean, on this model, which was also the case on the old model. I never really do it, but for certain applications, like usually I think in earbuds, they have the adjustable nub, and some people like to cinch up the cord to like here so that these don't get caught on things, whatever you're doing. Other reasons, who knows, but that's just a thing that some people like to do, but you will not be able to do, at least with what's built in the model itself, on this model. The wire is a kind of rubbery plastic. It seems pretty durable on this, main section of the cord. On these separated segments, it seems a little thin, but this is also the least likely place to have damage, like running over the cable and stuff. So I think that it's pretty decent. As long as you take proper care, it should last years. Hopefully. Hopefully this pleathering or whatever won't flake off like the other one did, but that, remember, is many years old. Hopefully this will not go much sooner. And finally, like stated before, the length is 1.2 meters, or just under 4 feet, and I thought that it could use another foot or two because I had these plugged into my computer while trying to play Rocksmith 2014. For those who don't know, it's a video game like Guitar Hero, but you play on the real guitar, so I kind of have to back off and be able to have the cord not get tangled up in my guitar, but that's of course a personal problem for my specific use case in that instance, and for lots of cases, this cord is just fine. So that finally leads us to the main question. How good do these sound, and can they stand up to the expensive JBLs that even the affordable JBLs couldn't? And well, it's a complex question, at least the second one. For $10, these things sound amazing, if you ask me. And I am not exaggerating because of the price. These things are literally an anomaly in the headphone world as it stands by what seems to be the industry standard. All of the costs that seem to be cut in the construction seem to have gone to the speakers because they just sound great. It's just a general good sound. These have a little less volume than the more affordable JBLs, but I would rather take the little less volume because only like a small bit, and the much better sound. And I don't care about the wireless capabilities. Like I said, I don't like to use it very often. So yeah, these are, in my opinion, superior while also costing $20 to $30 less. Describing the characteristics of headphones can be a bit of a challenge, which is why coming up with words that aren't just praise for this set of headphones is difficult. But I will, especially that I don't have tools to actually measure these, the sound wave, the soundscape of them. There are tools out there, but they are pretty expensive, especially for accurate measurements of devices like these. But I can attempt to describe to you based off of my experience, which is, I'm not a professional, but I'm certainly not inexperienced to using good and bad headphones. Hopefully I've put that effectively on display here. The sound is just well balanced in general. When you get the right volume, which is not hard, it just has to be a little bit boosted compared to, you just have to turn your volume dial up a little bit more than usual. This not flat because it's probably got a little bit of hills and dips here, but I can't identify them. I'm not that good. It's just what you want if you want a generally good sound, that you want to hear things how they were meant to be heard. People designed sound to be heard through devices like these. The bass is not overpowered or even underpowered, it's just pleasantly there. It's sufficient enough that you can hear the bass and enjoy it, and it's mixed into the sound. It's not just overbearing like the Shure headphones were. It's not muddy. I believe that those Shure headphones were over-ear, so that can be a downfall for a lot of headphone manufacturers, is they use the over-ear design. However, that actually makes the bass response much more powerful, which in ways that's what they want because they've already boosted it, but then that already boosted sound gets worse because it's concealed in there. and it doesn't escape as much. These, of course, are over-ear, so it's even harder to actually measure if you were to do measurements on these, because more sound is escaping and the seal is not as good because it's not an official seal as is. Overall, there's nothing of note here other than the sound is basic, but because of how basic it is, that's why it's good. The mids and the highs seem to meld together well. There's some detail in the highs that you get in these that you don't get in some other headphones like the cheaper JBLs, and the mids don't sound like they're coming through a telephone. I don't know if telephonic is a word, but that's what I'm going to call it. It doesn't sound telephonic. Now, the detail might not be as precise or pristine or loud as my expensive JBLs, but it's honestly hard to... I haven't listened to them back to back, but they both just sound good. They're well mixed. Now, the expensive JBLs, they have more features like active noise canceling, which I've never used. At least I think they have that. And then they also have their over-ear design so that they can cancel out sound around you a little bit easier, just naturally. But if you want good headphones for basically nothing, these are it. And that's what I've been trying to say, is that I personally think that the sound quality is on par with these JBLs, which I don't know the exact price of, but I think that they were around $160. These are $10, and on Amazon I think that when they're not on sale they go for like $13. In Walmart they said that they were reduced from $20, but $20 would still be a good price for these. Maybe for $20 I'd like a little more design, at least to be able to remove this cord and plug in a new one, but if I needed to. But that's also only usually a feature for wireless technology, which I don't care about. I just want to be able to exchange the cord if I need to. Sony has done basically the impossible that a lot of other companies have tried to do but have failed. Seemingly these other companies provide a worse product for more money, and this result is just truly amazing. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the other side of the coin is that all of this praise is based off of this one unit. Oftentimes, when you have a product like this that is so affordable, you have to make an absolute mass amount. Like, there's normal production runs are huge. This has to be absolutely massive as far as my knowledge. I'm not a manufacturing whiz or anything, and I'm only just barely trying to start my own small business. But even that little bit of knowledge from being a small business entrepreneur tells me a lot. There's lots of big business things that can happen from a brand like Sony, where they can buy in bulk, they can make special deals from connections, or since Sony is even a foreign company, they can have better relations with the actual factories themselves and all of that. I think that there's a different type of... There's a different type of community overseas in those manufacturing districts of these Asian territories. I don't know if that's racist to say, but there's a few different territories and majority of them are of an Asian descent, I would say. Hopefully I'm not saying that wrong or non-politically correct. But what I'm basically trying to say is that because the production is so massive, not every one of these has the guarantee to be perfect, like I consider my model here. Sometimes there is the chance of lemons or even factory tolerances going off, and maybe they'll sound bad, or a component doesn't work right and thus you have a lemon. But that's something to just keep in mind. Keep your expectations to a minimum until you have greatness truly in your hands and that you've experienced. Now, don't get me wrong, that should not discourage you from buying these headphones, because of course the return policies of many stores are great nowadays, so it's just amazing. If you found this video informational or entertaining in any way, please leave a like. This channel normally talks about 3D printing and music subjects. The music subjects include subjects from guitar to drums to sometimes bass, and then we also talk about other gear like sometimes microphones, guitar pedals, to even headphones like we've done today. I had another video very recently talking about a interesting subset of headphones that may help you if you were in live scenarios. However, they did fall short, but go and watch that video to find out why. I'll probably put in an end card here. And for 3D printing, it talks about the machines, issues within the subject in general, and hopefully how to fix them. I also talk about 3D design and show off a lot of projects and how I designed them in 3D CAD. Additionally, I do a variety of subjects and projects along the way, so if any of that sounds good, please consider subscribing. That's all I have to say for now, so I'm gonna say bye-bye.